Hey, good morning, you guys. I hardly ever get on here on my business page, but I wanted to today. I've been having some things going on around me, not necessarily to me, but I have grown so much. I wanted to share it with you because then you can maybe do this for yourself, and it's just a tool that I use to know what I don't want so I can see what I do want. So anyway, I wanted to talk to you about situations where you're getting into fights with people. So you might be in a fight with your mom or your brother or your husband. Now you're screaming and yelling and you have all this anger and you're saying things that you will regret. And so the key here is what I want you to look at is after you're done fighting, because when we were little children, we were raised to win the fight, right? So that's what we're doing. We're doing win the fight. But as adults, we are supposed to have emotional intelligence, which is discussions about what's going on and how we're feeling, not yelling and screaming matches and who's going to win, because no one wins. At that moment when everybody's screaming and yelling at each other, no one wins. So what I want you to do is after the fight, when you're calmed down, and everybody is, because just think about it, after the fight, just think right now, after a fight that you have with somebody, you're like, oh my gosh, I wish I wouldn't have said that. Sometimes you'll go back and apologize. Sometimes our pride, we won't go back and apologize, but we should. Anyway, if you do what I tell you to do, that I've learned this tool for myself, you won't have to go back and apologize because you won't say it. Because you'll leave the situation as it is right there at that moment, and there won't be an argument. And then when you come back together later, if you choose to discuss it, you can. And sometimes it's something silly like you left a spoon out. And our life is more important than a spoon, so maybe you don't want to discuss it at all. So here it is. I want you to write down the stuff that you don't want in that relationship. So if you're fighting with your husband, so you don't want to fight, you don't want to have an argument, and then you don't want to say things that you don't really mean. Because 99% of the time you're saying things, you don't mean them, right? Exactly. So let's not even say them. We have to take responsibility for ourselves, our feelings. That's what it is. I have a lot of people follow me and or notice me in my life where you're not arguing, because I've grown intelligently to understand that I'm not going to get anywhere arguing. When somebody's screaming so loud that you can't even hear what the hell they're saying at this point, how are you going to win any fight that way? And it's not about winning if you love somebody. It's about coming to a win-win. You want them to win and you to win so you could be together as one person. Or not as one person, but together in a relationship. So if you're arguing and screaming and yelling, nobody's winning. But if you later on calm down, you write down, how can I make this better? And then look at that about yourself. How can you make it better for you? So when you're arguing and yelling, say, no, I'm not going to do this right now. And don't do it. Even if they yell and scream, if you're emotionally intelligent enough, you can walk away and say, no, I'm not going to fight with you right now. And then it'll cool down. Maybe you have to leave. And then when everything's calmed down, you've saved yourself from saying a bunch of stuff you didn't mean, yelling, screaming. Sometimes it gets violent. I've been watching situations going on around me, and I'm like, whew. And the best thing about it is that I have grown so much that this doesn't affect me. Like the fighting and the yelling and the screaming does not affect me. But most of the world it does. If you're in a relationship and somebody's yelling and screaming at you, and then you want to yell and scream back, then you're not emotionally intelligent. The intelligent thing is take responsibility for yourself, because the other person might be, oh, take responsibility for yourself, move out of the situation, and come back later. Because adults do not fight like 5-year-olds. Now, if you're going to fight with a man like a 5-year-old, he's going to treat you like a 5-year-old. You see that? If you're going to belittle a man like a piece of shit, and then you're going to expect him to stay, that's not how this works. I know this is how we were taught. You tell him what to do and you tell them what to do. No. You stay where you are appreciated. If you appreciate someone, then they appreciate you back. If you are loving to someone, then they love you back. It's not about controlling. It's not about any of that. So what I want you to do is I want you to write down the things that you don't want in that relationship. And then on the other side, write down what you do want. What you do with what you want your relationship to look like with your children, with your husband, with your parents. And then you'll know what you do want. Then you can look at it and say, what do I need to do to change that? Okay, so I'm going to get on here tomorrow and talk more about it, but it's going to be about emotionally intelligence. So, what you don't want in the situation, in any situation, this doesn't have to be in relationships, it could be in a job situation. Write down the things that you don't want and how you want them to look. So I don't want to go here every day when people don't appreciate me. So you want to find a place, or you want to make a business, or you want to do something where people appreciate you. Or maybe it's your attitude. Maybe you need to go back and say, I'm very appreciated, because once you start appreciating, you get appreciation. But yelling and yelling and yelling, that's all you're getting. Yelling, yelling, yelling. But if you get love, if somebody's yelling at you and you're like, oh, I love you, they're almost like, what? They don't even say anything. They're like, I'm yelling and screaming at you, and you're just saying, I love you. Because they don't know what to say. Love always wins. I know we're taught to be badasses, and we'll tell what people to do, and we'll hurt them and kill them, and let's win the fight, but that's not how it goes. Everything's backwards. So, if you want to do that, you can. It'd be for your best. So, thank you so much for listening to this video, and I hope you do this, because if you can learn this, and it's learning and practicing, then you can become more peaceful in your life, and your people in your life will be more peaceful, and you'll be so, oh my God, it's like you want something good in your life, then give it, because you can't just demand people to do what you want. That's just not how it works. And you can't yell it into existence. So, I love you, and I hope this helps you. Write your little list, and I will talk to you later. Bye.